So we'll see if this we're going live on time so we can just shock everybody. Look out, everybody. Okay, hey, welcome to the stream. Oh my gosh, I am so thrilled. We've already been like just going nonstop motor mouths backstage. And I was like, oh, I guess we better, bring everybody in.
I knew it was going to happen.
Right?
I knew it was going to happen.
There's like no way. There was like no way. You posted that GIF last night. It's like, are we best friends now? Yes.
I knew it was going to happen. I was like, this is going to be crazy. It's going to be a mess. We're going to have to do more than one.
This is the beginning of way more than one. Way more than one. But I think even if we had commercial first, everyone should be here. Everybody welcome. Welcome especially to Leslie. Thank you so much for joining me. I have loved your channel for so long. Long before I started mine, I was watching your channel. Because in our corner of BookTube, you're one of the few that reads a lot of horror. And that's kind of where I came from. That's my love, right? So I absolutely always was tuned into you because Indian Lake, you got me started on so many things. We're going to get to all of it. Let me say hey to some people. AR with them.
Andy.
Gloria, both look forward to this. Love Leslie. Who doesn't love Leslie? Heidi says this is going to be a master class in horror. Has the notebook ready. Dennis is here. Andrew, my BookTube big sister. Derry is here. Active chat already.
Derry, have you started book 7, Derry? I got to know.
Oh, she'll tell us. Derry, I love your face. I'm just going to say that. Let's see. Already overbooked is here. Andrew has a very good question to start the chat already. Who is John? Most of this is Andrew. Tall Aaron is here. Happy to see so many here. Slay is here. Hello, everyone. So happy to see everyone in this. She was only. Evie is here.
Oh, Evie.
Zelly is here. Pete is here.
It's a Leslie.
Is here. Anita is here.
Oh my goodness.
Marianne is here. Glitch.
Oh my gosh.
The bee's knees.
My room is crooked. My camera is crooked. I tried.
Chris is
I mean, y'all just don't understand. I spent half of my life sideways.
I mean, the very first thing.
In editing, I can fix stuff. I can move it.
The very first thing is I brought her onto the screen, and she was already going, ow, because she hurt herself. That's how crooked everything is.
We don't have to tell that part. What happens backstage stays backstage.
There's no secrets, Leslie. See, if you're Andrew's big sister, I have to be your big brother, so we can be all one big happy family. Mindalin, gosh, there's just Jason, K Fox, Unlimited, all the way from Australia. Chris is here. Zach is here. Everybody's here. Everybody that's anybody is here. Let's just get started right away, Leslie. Tell me. I just watched your video today. You had an amazing October. You just wrapped everything up. Tell me what you're reading right now, because we're halfway through November.
What? Yes. Oh my gosh. How did that happen?
It's got 30 days. Like tomorrow's the 15th. I looked at the calendar today. I was like, what?
You're right. You're right. We're about to pack up and head.
You're a Southern girl too. So are you ready? Yes. Already picking your day on the calendar when you start making cornbread? So you're ready?
Oh, Lord. So I am not a cornbread eating girl, except way back in the day, when I was like a little 20-something, I worked for the divisional headquarters of the Salvation Army in Jackson, Mississippi. I worked in finance. My boss's wife, she would make cornbread in a skillet, and I'm talking from scratch, not that jiffy stuff.
No, the real deal.
And she would melt butter, a little bit of garlic in it, and she would pour it in the pan when the cornbread was done cooking, so it would like soak into it.
Yeah.
I would make a meal out of that. That's the only cornbread I'll eat.
Two things just happened. I heard myself getting fatter. It was an actual sound, and I started salivating. It's like I'm a Southern boy, so it's like I gotta pick that day on the calendar and back up so many days from Thanksgiving so I can make my biscuits and cornbread so they're just the right perfect staleness.
Yep.
To crumble and make the stuffing.
I tell you, Southerners eat a lot of bread and we deep fry everything.
And then
even the sweets.
And you get a lot of gravy.
Oh man, deep fry a turkey with Cajun spices.
Oh, Brian says I'm soft. Brian says I'm soft. Okay, first of all, you're going to use words like gain, and if that's
oh gosh,
if that's not a detergent ad, I don't know what to tell you.
We need tech talk for dummies, Brian.
Yeah, we're going to put something together like that. So, what are you reading right now, Leslie?
This Inevitable Ruin. It's book 7 of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's been such a delight. It's been such a delight. I'm still in the early stages. I just haven't been getting a whole lot of time to sit down and read this week. But this is a series that brings me nonstop joy. There's a lot of depth. I mean, this world, I'm just, mind is blown at the creativity and the writing chops on Matt Dinniman to create a world this big, have this insanely huge cast of characters.
Crazy.
But the audiobooks are the way to go. The audiobook's not out for it, but I've listened to the other 6 back to back that I have all of Jeff Hayes' voices in my head. So I'm reading it and hearing their voices, but I'm still going to listen to book 7 when it releases.
So even though you're reading it, you hear the, damn it, donut.
Yeah. New achievement.
Yeah, new achievement.
Reward.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I listened to the first one. And I can't. Look, I'm going to read them from here on out. I have book 2 set up for myself in January.
You're waiting that long? How?
I know.
You're the only person I have met. Everybody just binges it. It's crazy.
I got so many things stacked up. It's crazy. But I've been wanting to get back to it. And I'm going to... Oh, wait a minute. Look, I can guarantee you what's going on here.
Need your glasses?
No. Leslie, I don't. Jacob's texting me to tell me what to do about my mic. So, okay, I've moved it closer. I don't know what I'm doing here. So anyway, so what I was struck with, and I can't do audio, but I listened to the first one. I'm going to read from here on out. But because my mind just, I can't stay focused. But
do both. Yeah. So they're all on. I have the Kindle Unlimited subscription. So because sometimes I'll sit down and my mind is just too busy. So I'll put in the audiobook and I'll read along with my eyes. And man, you talking about, and I also listen at regular speed. I'm a 1X girl.
Yeah.
On days that I'm feeling wild, I wake up on the right side of bed, I'll listen at 1.1X.
Yeah.
But that's when my hair is like really curly.
Yeah. Those are the crazy days. Those are the crazy days. Yeah.
Yep.
I was struck by the world building, and there was some pretty deep satire going on about I really enjoyed it.
I was talking about book 6 the other day, and I'm like going, at some point this guy's got to write me a less than 5-star in this series. It cannot just keep getting better.
Yeah. But I think you're going to give this one a 5-star. Sounds like.
Probably. I mean, I'm loving it so far. And another author friend of mine, I was talking about it. Bless his heart. I have talked him into so many series, and we've been texting back and forth about it, just having the best time. Most everybody I know is waiting for the audiobook before they listen. So,
yeah. Sound Booth Theater is phenomenal. They really are. If it was anybody else, but I'm kind of weird. Ryan says he's up to 1.8. He's a madman. That's
my
just a
gosh.
madman.
Living on the wild side.
You should not leave the house without just wrapping yourself in saran wrap. You're too wild for the rest of us to be in contact with. You need to protect. It's not to protect you, Ryan. It's to protect us from you.
I tell everybody I've got southern ears. They hear slow.
Me too. I guess that's what it is. But for me, it's like all the years in the theater, I'll start listening to the performance and picking things, and it's like the next day, what happened in the last chapter? I got pulled aside doing something else. So I just have to read. I just have to read. So I'm reading Rhythm of War. Yes. Are you caught up?
Yes. I'm waiting on Wind and Truth, baby. But I've been wanting to reread the whole, I am a horrible. This is how horrible and OCD I am. Anytime a new book comes out, I want to reread the entire series so I can remember all of my conspiracy theories and wrong predictions. I'm always wrong about my predictions, and then there's just so many. Brandon Sanderson is one of the greatest moment writers.
Yeah.
You say a certain book and I'm going, oh, Honor is dead, but I'll see what I can do. Or Boots from Words of Radiance. And I have so many memories tied to those books that I get to relive something that happened in my life at the same time that I get tickled about. Like Words of Radiance, I got a Sanderson tattoo, and I kept having to tell her to stop tattooing me so I could belly laugh at Shaylin. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I saw in your video that Warbreaker was one of your favorite standalones. And so I have a Rapunzel and Siri mashup. That's the dress she wore. So I got Rapunzel in the dress, and she's got, I can't see it, but she's got rainbow colored hair.
Yeah.
For Siri. And then you know how to do magic, she has to pull color from something. So he's letting her pull his color because he's a chameleon and he just regenerates. So she'll pull the color out to do magic and then he just regenerates. Pascal.
That is too cool.
Yeah.
That is too cool. I mean, I'm not. Andrew says, yuck, Rhythm of War, blah. I'm not.
Well, he has questionable taste.
Little brothers always do. But
we got to give them trouble.
I read these pretty close together. And I'm like, okay, when you're thinking about it, I think I'm over 3,000 pages into this story. And I'm still having so many moments of like, what in the wide world of sports is going on? Like, I couldn't tell. There's so many things I couldn't tell you. Mm-hmm. It's starting to annoy me a little bit. Like, before, Oathbringer was my jam. Oathbringer made me go get a tattoo.
I love that one. I think that one is so underrated in the series. Everybody's like, oh, it's boring. It's so slow. No. But I loved that slow down pacing for a minute. Yeah. And it was just methodical. It had purpose. It had but it also turned me against one of my favorite characters. I just don't know what I'm that kind of destroyed me. Yes, me and Dalinar, we're not friends anymore right now.
I love Dalinar. So I had to go get a Bond Smith tattoo because
I saw that.
That's my guy.
Jacob's like, "Are you nervous?" And you're like, "No."
No. It's not my first. It's just not my first rodeo. You know, but it's I love Dalinar so much, but it's like I was hoping, and I'm only 300 pages in. So maybe I'm whining way too early. But I was hoping by book 4 it's like I'm going to have like a schematic. I'm going to be able to figure this out at least a little bit or have a roadmap. And I'm
not clever enough for it. I never guess the whodunit.
Yeah.
I'm always fooled by the red herrings.
Yeah.
I don't even try anymore. Well, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it's so comical how wrong I am. I mean, it's like, don't listen to me, kids.
Yeah. So you get pulled down the wrong track with the red herrings and stuff. I'm pretty good with that, but this is like so many, the heralds and the ghost bloods, and now we got all the science of the fabrials, and it's like I feel like I'm cramming for the SAT. Like I feel like
Do you take notes or you tab things, or how do you?
Don't, and maybe I should. Maybe that's my
problem. I do. Yeah, I have so much fun. Like, well, it gives me an excuse to use my fountain pens, and I tab things, and I have a journal and with stickers, and I mean, I make it an art.
It is. I've watched the videos of you journaling with your pens, and it's like, it is beautiful. You have that penmanship, like, there's always that girl in high school that you walk by and look at the desk, and it's like, oh my God, I wish I could write like that. Like,
not bad for a lefty, huh?
It's amazing. I didn't know you were a lefty, but I'm telling you, you've taken journaling to a whole new level. Where did that come from? Your love of pens?
Watching YouTube.
Really?
Oh, well, so my husband's always been big into fountain pens.
Oh.
And I'm not even exactly sure what happened. I think he's like, just use one for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And see what you think. And I did, and I loved it, and I wanted to get one myself. So I shopped around, and obviously I landed on one that was a collaboration with a YouTuber. I'm like, I'm going to support my coworker.
Sure.
And I got it in the mail the day when YouTube was like pushing us, was like emailing us 20 times a day. It was like, create a short, create a short, create a short. Yeah. And I was deleting. And I had just opened one of those dang emails, and my husband walked in with my fountain pen. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to film a short of me opening up this dang pen, and I'm going to upload the short, and maybe YouTube will leave me alone. And do you know that sucker went viral?
For a pen?
A day. I said nothing. I didn't say what the pen was, what it did, its specs. I just was like, oh, I'm going to open this box, and I'm going to turn this pen, and it went viral. I'm like, what? Why?
What the
I'm
pen?
a book channel. But that just goes to show that shorts has a completely different trajectory of audience. So all of my shorts are all like journaling and fountain pen related. And then my long content's books. That's two different audiences under one channel, which is great because I do not want to do multiple channels. My husband was telling me last night, you need to do a basketball YouTube channel. I'm like, what? So I can get on there and just talk trash about everybody except my teams. I can do that.
Everyone's not the Magic. Okay, what teams do you have? You got the Magic because I know you
so
went
the
to the game last
Celtics.
Night.
The Celtics are my all-time.
Why the Celtics?
When I was born, my daddy watched the Celtics. Oh. So, but what's funny is he watched it because he just liked Larry Bird talking trash. Yeah. But I actually got into college ball. For 30 years, I was a Duke Blue Devil because I loved Coach K. And when he was getting ready to retire, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to watch Duke anymore. I guess I'm going to go to the NBA. So what I did is like, all right, who are my favorite Duke players that still play? Jason Tatum. And then, of course, Paolo Banchero was from Duke. So I was like, okay, well, my hometown boy, I got to support my hometown team. So, and then just the beauty of my husband got sucked in and now he's a fan and like my life is perfect. He's reading now. We read the Dungeon Crawler Carl books together, got him to do the Dresden Files, basketball fan. Like what else can I? It's a fairy tale.
You've converted him. You've absolutely converted him. Wow.
It only took 15 years, but
I'll forgive you the Celtics. I'll give you the Celtics. It's a pretty storied franchise. I'll give it to you.
Well, I mean, that's kind of one of the things I love most about Duke. It was not just one team. It was the coach and the franchise.
Yeah.
But I love Coach K's coaching program.
Oh yeah. He was something. He was something. Yeah, I got a soft spot for Wake Forest because I'm a Spurs fan. So.
Yeah. Whatever, Wake Forest. But I mean, I will watch anybody, but Celtics and Magic are my two favorites, and then it's the Denver Nuggets, which that's probably where I love the Celtics. My husband loves the Nuggets, but you cannot not love Joker, Aaron Gordon,
he's
Jamal
the most
Murray,
talented, unathletic athlete I've ever seen.
You wouldn't look at him and think anything, but oh my gosh. And Christian Brown, I knew that kid a couple years ago. I told my husband, I'm like, that's the one to watch right there. And Peyton Watson, you cannot not love these people.
I know.
But I love a ton of players.
Sarah Beth loves Dresden.
Yep, she's our people.
You love Dresden. I love Dresden. How many times have you read the Dresden Files? Because I know you were rereading the whole thing.
Yes, I think I have reread the entire, so Peace Talks and Battleground, I've only read those twice.
Okay.
The rest of the series in its entirety at least 3 times, and then the first 5 probably 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
I am a serial rereader. Yeah, I'm a serial rereader. Look, when you are a broke kid, or you're living alone, supporting yourself, you just read what you have sometimes.
There you go. Read your favorites over and over again. Wow, look at this. I didn't know this. Derry's at 5 times. I didn't know Derry was at 5 times. Now, I know Zach loves Dresden. That's not a thing. That's not a question I have. I know he loves it a lot. So where would you categorize Dresden? Because I always have a hard time. I've got to put it in kind of horror for me because...
It's a blend, but I I consider it urban fantasy because of the setting. And it's, and the majority of it feels like it's pulling into the human world.
Yeah.
Which is why I love Johnny Marcone. I love the fact that there's a human who's just as big of a Billy Badtail as the supernatural baddies.
I love Gentleman Johnny, man. I love that guy. And the thing is like he's still got miles to go. Even after Battlegrounds, like, the jury's not in on where he's going to end up. He's no. Yeah. He's going to be.
He's one of those morally gray ones. That's just impossible. Nobody knows. I don't think he trusts anybody to show all of his cards to, which makes him just an enigma.
Yeah, but even if for me, Dresden's getting a little questionable of where he's going to end up.
Well, that whole mantle thing, and I mean, but Ebenezer.
Oh yeah.
I just don't know what's going to happen with that.
The last couple were emotional for me.
Yeah. Well, Peace Talks.
Yeah.
No, it was Battleground. I got so mad at Battleground that I put it down for 3 days.
You had to walk away?
Yeah, I 2-starred that sucker.
Oh my God.
That was some bad decision making. That was horrible. That was so disrespectful to that character. So disrespectful. You agree. That was.
I will say this. You got to kill your darlings. I know writers say
no, you don't. He killed that darling because his ex-wife, that was her favorite character.
Oh, really? I didn't know. I don't know the story. All right. I don't know the story.
It always comes back to the woman. It always comes back. I bet she was curly haired too.
I bet she was.
Look, any horror movie, it's always the ones with the curly hair.
It's always a curly haired girl.
Yeah, that's why it's only safe to talk to me virtually like this.
Oh, I won't believe that at all. I won't believe that at all, Leslie. Okay, so let's talk about how long have you been doing a BookTube channel? When did you start?
Oh gosh, I think I'm about to hit year 5 in February.
Wow.
But I worked on planning for it about a year in advance because I have a whole bunch of friends who are pretty popular, or they were YouTubers in the gaming side of the platform.
Yeah.
And, I was just thinking, I want to do something I'm passionate about, something I'll never run out of fun material for. And I have never been without a book since, gosh, I think my mom put the Babysitter Club in my hand when I was a little tot. So I was like, I'll never run out of stuff to read.
Oh my gosh, that's so the same for me. I remember when I was a little kid and we lived in a tiny town, 2,000 people in the whole town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you kind of the same way, Miss?
Yes.
Small town, yeah.
One gas station, one grocery store. I mean, and it's still that way to this day.
One stoplight, yeah, Yep. Small town in Texas.
One flashing stoplight.
Yeah, that's actually what we had. Yeah, so we. But the one thing that my mom would get in the car and drive to the city, she would never say no to buying books. From when I was a little kid, so kind of like the same thing. So I can never remember a time. And I mean, I didn't always read a lot of books, but I always had a book going,
Yep.
Like I always knew, what book are you reading right now? I would have that.
Oh man. It's so nice that I don't have to, I used to always have to pick a purse if I was buying a new purse I mean, I needed to fit 2 books in it at all times. So if I finished one, I would have one to go to. Yeah. Now I just have my Kindle. Oh, it's so great.
Kindle game changer. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years. And what's it been like is it everything you were hoping? I mean, you knew people doing it already in the gaming side.
Yeah, it's been fabulous. And I had to learn editing. I had to learn about equipment.
Yeah.
Just set up and figure out how I wanted to talk about stuff, just kind of perfect it. And I think it took me like 3 years to actually get things the way that I like the format and I like the way I do things. And I do my own thing. I don't do this to make money. If I did, I would focus on fantasy, Right. But I like reading everything. Yeah. So I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. If I can't sit here and say my goal is to introduce you to books, help you find something that might be interesting to you if I'm only reading a genre.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not pandering to an algorithm, and I'm not, do I have my channel monetized? Yes. Let me make them 20 nickels a month. I'm going to buy a book with that sucker.
Yeah, you're going to buy books with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I enjoy it. It keeps me in my, like, learning stuff. It keeps me engaged. It's exciting. I am not good with, like, the analytics stuff part of it, but because I do mostly reviews, I don't care, because that's just something that gets views over time anyway. I just kind of do what I feel like doing.
That's the same thing. Hey, got to throw this. Have you tried Sandman Slim yet? Because it is kind of Dresden-like, and Brian will be mad if I don't bring it.
I have not. And I'm about to start the. I'm also rereading. I got stuck into the Necroscope series by Brian Lumley. So I just got the audiobook for the second one to reread it. And I'm very excited. Is Vampiri. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Vampiri.
So what was the biggest surprise doing that? We're going to get into Necroscope as soon as we get back to books. What was the biggest surprise about doing the channel? You had to learn all the technical side, which I don't do. And you're like me. I don't look at the numbers. Like, I'm just having a blast. And
I will never forget when I started my channel, the day that I got into double digits. I got like 12 views. I was sending pictures to every friend and family member. But I'm that kind of person. I celebrate the little things, and that way I'm always celebrating something. I'm always happy. I was like, okay, I want to break 1,000 subscribers in like 2 years, and then maybe by year 5 be like at 3,000.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, look where you are. Yeah.
I was, and then I was just kind of lost. I'm like, oh, well, what goal do I work toward now?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what if I don't care about that? What if I just keep reading books I love and just making videos? I'm like, all right, well, there we go. My goal is to try and post a couple of videos a week.
Right. I mean, for me, I think the magic, like when someone actually sent me a book, I believe it was Heidi, who I think is in the chat with me today.
Yeah.
With us. I think she's the first one that sent it. It's like, I was stunned.
I have every book that someone has sent me.
Oh, there's
I keep every book.
Yeah.
I have the slip that came with it.
Yeah,
I've got that taped on the inside.
Yeah.
And it's special.
Isn't that amazing that it's like you start talking about story with people and they want to share their favorites with you? That's what I mean.
Oh man, my patrons are they're my besties.
Yeah.
We're always reading books together, and it's just having that little community of people who understand you and have the same reading taste as you do. And I do this thing where I let somebody pick me a book, and oh my gosh, after 3 years of doing it, I usually, all my patrons are like 4 and 5 star picks.
Yeah.
House of Leaves was my first patron DNF.
Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I was so sad. I tried to soldier through, but I couldn't do it.
I saw you DNF that like a week or so ago, right? Oh, Kay is here. Kay is one of the best.
Oh my gosh.
So I saw like a week ago you DNF'd that, and I DNF'd it too.
I tried.
And I feel like I had the same experience that you did. Like, somewhere hidden in there is a great story, but you have to, it's as close as I can get it.
Is it? Point it towards your mouth.
That's, all right. How about that?
There you go. That's it.
Everybody calm down. All right. So somewhere in there is, now they're going to say I'm too loud. Somewhere in there is a really good story. Like, I was really into some of it, But the hoops you have to jump through to get to it.
What's appealing to me about it is one of my favorite subgenres of horror is found footage. That's what was appealing to me. And then there's this whole mystery of this film doesn't exist. Like the editors, it's like this film doesn't even exist. Like this is all written about this imaginary film. That was what intrigued me. And in the beginning, I was intrigued in Johnny Truant's story in the footnotes.
Right.
But oh my Lord, all the researchy part of it, the uninteresting type of nonfiction part of it. I'm like, why are we chasing these rabbits? How does this tie in? And then I just started skipping footnotes and just was skipping around, finding just the blurbs about the Davidson record. And I was like,
no. I think I did my experience was exactly the same on that. Like I really, what they were finding in the house and the footage of it and the exploration of that. And it's like, couldn't I just get this? Like this seems great. I just want this, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're doing Necroscope.
Yes.
And that's thanks to Nico, I think, right?
Yes.
How about that cover?
Oh, now that's amazing. Love that. I love those covers so much.
Yeah.
Like that accurately portrays the intensity of the vampires in this world, or worlds, shall I say.
Worlds.
Man, you talking about dark horror blended with science fiction. I mean,
and
there's
espionage.
Time travel. Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Come on. It's got it all. It's so good. And people haven't got into it yet. I think it was I don't think 80s,
people
right?
I don't think people today can handle it.
You don't think so? Too many trigger warnings.
It's like I knew when Nico said, he said, this is part of my reading outside my comfort zone experiment. I'm like, you are not going to like it. I'll be very surprised if you don't DNF it. Yeah. And I said the same thing about Andrew, because I know there's a lot of stuff in there that they don't like to read. And I'm like, it's not just a little, it's a lot. And it is on the page.
Yeah, it was times, I'm trying to remember when it came out, 85?
It was either 83 or 86.
Okay.
Actually, I have my reading journal right here.
All right, well, break out that beautiful journal. So, look, that was the splatterpunk time. That was the splatterpunk era where, people weren't going to hold back.
And he got so many awards off that series.
Oh, yeah.
He won a lot.
Yeah. So have you read any of his Lovecraftian stuff? So how deep into Lumley have you gone?
Just the Necroscope series, the first 8 books.
Okay. Oh, so did you get to
I didn't even finish the series.
Did you get to the point where they go to the other? Okay, yeah, because that's the good stuff. I love that.
Yes. The Eyrie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Aries. The last Eyrie, and oh yeah.
It's so hard not to just go full on spoilers with it.
Yeah, I know. Well, no one's read it. Hopefully people will pick it up if they think they can deal with it. Titus Crow, look at this. Grifkin, my man. Yep. Titus Crow is good. That's kind of some of the Lovecraftian, the supernatural detective character of Brian Lumley's that he did a lot of short stories with. What other stuff from that time, Leslie, like the splatterpunk, did you really enjoy? Did you get into? Like, what horror stuff were you doing in the 80s?
Man, well, in the 80s, I was too young to be reading horror. I was a little tot. I didn't start reading horror until I was in junior high and high school. So I actually got started on the Necroscope series when I was in high school. And I read it up to the amount of books that were out at the time. And then I thought the series was over. Had no idea it continued.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he came back.
But I loved anything Stephen King back then. I read all of Dean Koontz. Who else?
I can picture that cover. And then I backed away for a while because it was getting
really out there.
Repetitive a bit for me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like some super smart dog or super smart kid, or you know what I mean? Like I kept seeing this. Yeah, it's like I'm gonna back away for a while, but I actually met him at several signings. He's like the most amazing dude, super nice guy. He actually wrote like a 3-page letter that he had to hand out to everyone because he felt bad.
Wow, that's cool.
For not being able, I can't talk to you, I can't take the time with you, so I wrote this letter to let you know everything's going on. He was like super cool. Oh man, I was older in the 80s, obviously. So I
not by much.
Oh yeah, Leslie, by much. So I was all into.
I actually have a brother older than you.
No, that
yes, I do.
That can't be true.
Yep.
That can't be true.
He's 58. He's 58.
No, I'm 59.
Are you?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I squeaked him.
I had you pegged.
No.
Had you pegged for you a little younger.
No, 59. So 80s. Oh yeah. Okay. John Skip and Craig Spector. Did you ever try them?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
So I was right about the time I was reading that type of horror. I kind of veered into science fiction too.
Oh, okay.
So I was like Piers Anthony that I loved so much?
Mm-hmm. I did some Piers Anthony.
And then I was dabbling in mystery. I read just about everything that Mary Higgins Clark wrote, John Grisham, because he was from Mississippi. I'm like, I gotta read his stuff.
Sure. Who else? Okay, Richard Christian Matheson. Did you ever try him? I got big into him.
Yes, I tried one of his, but I was trying to remember his name. I can see the cover in my mind, but I cannot remember the title. Because
I loved Richard Matheson, and that was his kid, so I got very excited when he started writing. Who else? David Scow. Who else was I big into at that time? Harlan Ellison, I was really big into him. Man, there was so many great. Anne Rice was around that time. How big?
Oh, I did love her vampire series.
Yeah, did you?
And that's on my list to reread. Yeah, that's on my list to reread.
That goes weird.
That was definitely weird.
Yeah.
I would say that was one of the strangest things I had read at that time as a young reader. But I liked it.
Oh, me too. I think right around book 6 or 7, it gets weird though. It really does. But Interview with the Vampire is still one of my favorite, like all time. Like.
Yeah, I read Violin by her last year, and that was an experience. So strange.
Yeah, that one's a little different. Did you ever do Robert McCammon during that time? Because he was.
I've never read anything by McCammon. Yet.
Leslie.
It's on my list.
Okay. What's on your list to possibly try? I'm gonna pick.
Lord.
I'm gonna pick something for you.
Let me pull it up.
You got
one of my spreadsheets here.
Boy's Life.
Yes.
Swan
That
Song.
one's I think. Boy's Life is my at the top of my list. Swan Song's on there, and then those might be the top 2 that I think I have on my list to try, and then go through more if I like those 2.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna love Boy's Life for sure.
It's such a pretty coming of age story with just.
I think I actually own it somewhere.
Amazing thread of magical realism that goes through it, right? Yeah, you're gonna love it. You're absolutely gonna love it. And then Swan Song is like, you've read The Stand, right? Stephen King, The Stand.
Yes. Okay. Long time ago. Yes.
So Swan Song is in that neighborhood. It's an apocalyptic, good versus evil, huge.
Love post-apocalyptic setting.
It's like that epic fantasy quest through a post-apocalyptic
survival,
after the bombs have dropped, kind of thing.
And it's a father and son. That's the one, right?
That's Boy's Life.
Okay. Whoops. Wrong one. Okay.
Yeah, that's Boy's Life. And then I would throw Mine in there. Have you done Mine?
Mm-mm.
Have Mine on yours? Throw Mine in there.
Okay.
Throw Mine in there. That's like, oh, That's like, it's like an 80s action flick. It's like a chase across America.
Ooh.
It's like the best. It's like this old FBI guy. He's coming back to get like this 1960s counterculture person that was involved with some of blowing up some buildings back in the day, and he's never caught her, and now she's done something even more heinous. It's like I think it's Mary Terror is one of the best female villains ever. I put her against all the great Stephen King ones that he's done. Mary Terror is right up there.
Okay, that might have to be first then. That sounds like something I'm going to really love.
I think it's got, oh man, trigger warnings for the very opening.
I've got no warnings.
It's going to throw you in then.
As long as it's not animal stuff.
No, it's something.
I just need to know ahead of time.
Not animal stuff. It's so visceral. You're gonna start, and it's like, oh my gosh, no! And then it takes a turn. So just keep going with it, and then it goes on this unbelievable. It's like it's all adrenaline 80s action chase film from then on out. This old FBI guy trying to get the one that got away, and this most
that kind of sounds like Stephen King's Mr. Mercedes, which I loved.
And this most terrifying female villain ever.
I kind of want to read that right now. Oh. You know what? Let me see if my library has that.
Boom.
Yep, that's the cover I'm looking at.
You got to get it.
All right. I'll see if I'll get in line for it at my library if they have it. I'm sure they do.
My cord. Okay.
Oh gosh.
There. And cool. I mean, if you want historical fiction, go Matthew Corbett. The Matthew Corbett series.
Me and historical fiction, I only like it if it's historical fantasy for some reason. I just finished a speculative historical fiction, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. So I think I like historical fantasy.
Okay, then stick mine, Boy's Life, Swan Song. Excuse me. You're going to love those three. You're set.
All right.
Okay.
Got it.
And the other, I love this one, and I know you like vampires if you liked Anne Rice. Mm-hmm. So from that splatterpunk era, okay, these guys wrote together, John Skipp and Craig Spector. And there's, I think it was their first book. It's called Light at the End. And it is one of the best vampire stories. It happens in New York City. And what this group of losers that come to find out, New York City is the perfect place for vampires because in the subways, it's always night.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it's like this, no one buys in and no one believes it except for this group of losers. And it just basically becomes them against this group of vampires in the subway system. It's so much fun.
And it's called Light in the End?
Light at the End.
Light at the End.
Yep.
All right. The light. Got it. Look at you adding to my TBR.
That's what we do here. Now it's your turn. You got to add to mine.
Oh, goodness. So, what are your favorite subgenres of
How many times
horror?
have you read Wheel of Time? Because I know you.
Oh, Lord. I think fully.
Yeah.
3 times. I have read the first one probably 7 times. I'll pull up The Eye of the World I think I read it a couple of years ago, just it. And then the next year I decided, okay, I'm going to reread the series.
Okay, sell me on Getting Back because I'm having the hardest time.
No. No. So I wish
you're not helping me, Leslie.
Modern editor. These books were not written to be read back to back or even 2 or 3 months apart. These books are absolutely meant to be read years apart because it is so repetitive. It is insane. If it was originally supposed to be 6 books and it really should have stayed that. If a good editor got a hold of this series right now and just cut it down so that they could be read back to back, these books would probably be 300 to 500 pages each, and there would only be 7 of them.
Wow.
It's oh.
Really?
Wait a minute. John. Well, you've read Indian Lake, but you really need.
Well, I've read the first one. My heart like a chain. My heart is a chainsaw. And then
Did
I was
you
about
like
to
it?
pick up. Oh, I loved it. What an amazing. I love the main. I'm blanking on her name, but that main protagonist.
Jade.
Oh, Jade.
Did you enjoy the literary themes? Because he's described as being a literary horror author. So and My Heart is a Chainsaw, and he's so subtle about it.
Yeah.
But he writes in about it's the statistics of indigenous people, how the daughters are so often abused by their fathers.
Well, that was definitely in there, sure.
And he, with all of his books, and that's why he's the first author that made me pay attention to the author's note at the end. I always read those now. Because there's no telling what I've been missing out on. And he tells you, like, this was this and this is why. But the only good Indians was my favorite. And if you like, I kind of tell people to start with My Heart is a Chainsaw series. And if they like it, then try The Only Good Indians, because it's a much different style. I would say if you do pick that one up, obey the commas, pause with the commas. It's written in the cadence of how the characters speak, and they're all indigenous. If you read it with that mindset, you get the flow. That book was beautiful. Okay. Oh my gosh. I cried at the end.
Oh, really?
And there's basketball. Stephen Graham Jones said he always wanted to write a book about basketball and big trucks. And he did that in this one. But I did not think that book was ever going to get topped, but I was a teenage slasher.
Really? Okay, so which would you say? Only Good Indians or Teenage Slasher? Which should I pick up?
Teenage Slasher.
Teenage
I was a teenage slasher. It is so good.
Okay.
Oh.
I will order it. I'm going to order it immediately. Because I ordered book 2 of Indian Lake because I loved the first one.
Yeah, and the second one's good. But he should have stopped there.
Jade fan club. Loved her.
Yeah.
Loved all the themes of going on. And I didn't think of it like a literary so much. I really thought it was such a love letter to genre, because he's one of us. Like, as much as he loves slasher flicks, and that just breathes it,
Yeah.
Me too. I grew up watching all that, so I just loved it.
Same. My parents let me watch Friday the 13th when I was a kid, and I just loved it.
I think what's the first really movie I watched that totally freaked me out was The Exorcist.
Oh. So I would say it was Nightmare on Elm Street. I had this one corner of my bedroom that was completely in shadow at night, and I just knew Freddy was standing in that corner waiting for me to go to sleep. I just knew it. Gosh.
I watched Exorcist. It came on HBO, and I had a TV in my room, and I can't remember what year of high school I was. Maybe sophomore or something. It's like, oh, watch this. I've heard about it. And I was just alone in my bedroom, and it came on. I was not right for a long time after that. That movie freaked me out.
Well, when you read Dungeon Crawler Carl book 7, there's a really hilarious Exorcist reference that's going to send you rolling.
Okay. I book 2 is January. I have it on the stack.
Yeah.
So and maybe I'll just start binging after that.
You should. Do you have a favorite subgenre of horror, or do you just like it all?
I love it all. Like, I love vampires. They're probably one of my favorite creatures. I love cosmic horror. What do you like for cosmic horror? Do you like cosmic horror?
Gosh. So my favorite cosmic horror I've read to date, and it's an unfinished series. It's a self-published author, and he didn't sell enough, so he decided not to finish the series. But it's the Salem Holly series by Michael Patrick Hicks.
Okay.
And it takes place back in, I'm forgetting the exact year, but it was when medical schools were stealing bodies of Black people out of the Black people graveyards to do autopsies on. Because they were like, oh, well, we're white. Nobody's going to care that we're stealing Black people. Sure. And he really captured what that did to their families, with their loved one. They would go to mourn their loved one, and their grave would be dug up. Just, oh my gosh. But it is the scary, I mean, you talking about crawl up the back of your chair cosmic horror. I mean, oh my gosh.
Oh, I love it.
But it's funny. So Salem Hawley is the main character, and he's a freed Black man, and he has decided he's going to solve the mystery behind who's doing it and why. And there's some occult involved, and they tear open reality.
How many books did he get out?
2. Yeah. So that's why I never, I love reading those first 2. I don't regret it. I'm not somebody that has to have a finished series, but I respect people that this is why a lot of people wait till a series is finished, because,
Yeah. So, I know you read quite a bit of Stephen King. Did you ever read Revival?
No, but I have it back here on the shelf to get to.
That's really good cosmic horror.
I've heard. I
will put
personally,
that one way up there.
I think my favorite subgenre is possession horror. I love cursed objects, love haunted houses, I love found footage, I like psychological horror, but possession horror, I think it's because it's an unseen type of thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, psychological horror is stuff that could really happen. So,
sure.
Yeah, that's gonna keep me up at night.
Hit me with some of the best possession horror that you've come across.
Boys in the Valley.
I just read that.
Philip Fracassi. Wasn't it fantastic?
It was great. This was my one problem with, and I thought it was really phenomenal. But here's my one problem with it. When everything goes bad at the end, and because no spoilers. It's horror. Everything is going to go bad at the end.
Yeah. That's what I tell people. Don't ever get attached to characters that,
right.
Everybody's going to die.
Things are going to go wrong. Things are going to go bad at the end. I would have loved more time. If Stephen King had wrote that, it would have been it would have been 700 pages. And I would have had the backstory of every one of those boys in that orphanage out there in the country. So when things went bad, I would have known exactly which one it was, and I would have felt the loss more so. I just thought it was so fast for me, I couldn't connect to anyone. So when things went bad, I didn't quite feel it at the level I wanted to.
You didn't connect to any of them? I
connect to some. They took the time with some, but I would have liked that time with a lot more.
Yeah. That's so Stephen King can get away with writing an 800-page book and taking the time to do that. Not everybody's editors are going to let them do that. That's the thing with traditionally published books.
Right. Philip Fracassi.
They gotta pander to a different algorithm.
Yeah, for sure. I know who's going to edit Stephen King. They're going to just let
somebody needs to. I'm not buying anymore, Stephen King. I'm not buying anymore. I'm done. I'm done with it.
Was good.
Look, I have a friend who is a long time Stephen. She buys everything's pre-order. She's got everything he's ever written, and she even told me she got started. She's like, oh, and then she's like, oh wait, never mind. Nope, don't get it.
Thank you so much, Cinna. I really appreciate that. Brian, greatest ever.
Oh man, I still get so
ones.
Much hate over I didn't like Fairy Tale.
Oh, I didn't
at
like
all.
I like the first half of Fairy Tale.
Yes, I like the first third.
Yeah,
and then he took a left turn at Albuquerque, and keep the same energy. Do what you did in the second part as you did with the first. You've done it in so many. One thing I've always said about Stephen King was that he was excellent at writing what I call small town America. Billy Summers, just where Billy is living in that neighborhood just for a short period of time while he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
We still got to know everybody on that street, their families, what they did for a living. He made me love they're not even really that important to the story, but he made me love them anyway. He just really, Salem's Lot.
Same.
I got to know everybody in Jerusalem's Lot. So when stuff went sideways, I was so invested in all those people. They felt
needful things.
People, yes.
Same thing, right? Yeah.
But yeah, he just, and they were all so closely related to fairy tale characters that there was nothing to make them stand out or make them unique. And I was like, this is, and people are like, you just need to reread it with, you know, an open mind. And I'm like, hell no, I don't. I already sold my copy. We'll never reread. I wasted my time. I pushed through one time. Why am I going to? I do this for fun, y'all. No. That was not fun.
Brent's greatest answer. So I felt like with fairy tale, like the first third to half, right? I was all in. I was really all in. And then it seemed like he stayed up late one night and watched Spartacus, a late night movie, and decided, I'll do that. That's what I'll do for the ending of the book. It was like, this is not the book you've been writing. This is not the book. You know, like it just.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. But I'll just keep rereading my classic king and just.
I was going to say.
He could write no wrong up until I would say last 5 years.
Yeah.
Holly was just a complete character assassination. How do you take a beloved character and just do that? So now I saw him, he tweeted that I guess I'm not done with Holly and Jerome and Barbara Robinson. I'm like, in this reader's mind, you are.
Yeah.
I just pretend like Holly never happened.
That
should have been a novella.
You're not going back?
That should have been a novella. No, I ain't going back. You ruined her. Nope.
So how about the classic king? What are some of your favorites of classic?
Oh, so the Dark Tower series. The Dark Tower series, masterpiece. Favorite fantasy series of all time.
Really? That's your number one?
Yes.
That's your number one fantasy series of all time?
So before I read that series,
yeah,
I would say The Wheel of Time and The Sword of Truth were my favorite fantasy series.
I haven't done Sword of Truth.
I really enjoyed that series.
Did you? Okay. Before I forget, I haven't done Billy Summers. Is that worth going back and picking up?
I really liked Billy Summers. Okay. I found that one very enjoyable. There's a lot of nods to Classic King in that one, but that's probably the last one that I really loved. I like the If It Bleeds collection. I did really enjoy that one.
Yeah.
But I love his crime fiction, the Billy Summers. I love,
Mr. Mercedes was
really.
Mr. Mercedes was great.
The Outsider. I mean, it's just like all of his old stuff. All of his old stuff. I mean, I've read Carrie, Misery. Firestarter was a favorite. I loved the movie with Drew Barrymore. I remember that one when I was a youngster.
I remember that one big time.
I thought they did really good with that one.
They did. I thought Dead Zone was a good adaptation too.
With Christine. Christine. Loved that one. He was so good at writing horror about inanimate objects.
Yeah, but Christine is something like that's one it didn't grab me when I was a kid. Yeah.
Cujo, what about that one?
Cujo was another one. Didn't do it for me. I mean, I read it, I bought it, I read it. That was like I would be anything with King's name on it, I would read. But those two, like a haunted car and a scary dog. I wanted, you know, I wanted Exorcist. I wanted something I'm not gonna see in my small Texas town.
Oh man. But yeah.
Let's see.
What about loved,
It? Where do you come down on It?
Okay, so this is a mild spoiler, but it's relatable. I am deathly afraid of spiders.
So the ending tore you up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And anytime I think about it, anytime somebody mentions it in a video, I come across somebody tweeting about it, I can hear that freaking locket. You know how it would rustle and kind of move when she wore it?
Mm-hmm.
I hear that and I'm like, I know what that is now. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I liked it quite a bit. Different
Yeah, that one
seasons. That
scared
was
me.
different seasons. One of my all-time faves.
Hmm. Oh man,
What did you
good
think of the
times.
ending of Dark Tower? Were you all good on that?
I thought it was perfection.
Me too.
Perfection.
Yeah.
It was beautiful because what this is just that's humanity.
Yeah.
It's what we do.
It's
It's what we do.
I just didn't see any other way to end it. Like I
It's
couldn't have
it's
thought of
hope.
a better way. Yeah.
Hope. Hope never dies. Hope never. And just that one minor change, just
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dark Tower ending is perfect. But that's,
man.
some people go one way, some people go another. Like I know people that love the whole series and can't stand the ending.
Oh
So,
man, I love it. That's my favorite found family trope
oh,
ever.
Roland and
It's just
Jake and
oh, I
Susanna.
cried. Ooh, I cried. I cried so much. Oh man, I was just the seventh book. I knew I was going to cry a lot, so I'd read it holding it up, so I could just do this and let the
Yeah.
tears fall
Yeah.
out, so they weren't blurring my vision, so I could keep reading.
So they wouldn't hit
Just
the
keep getting
pages.
destroyed, you know.
Yeah. Well,
So good.
Les, I got to tell you, you let me down, man. I was really hoping you're going to help me get back into Wheel of Time.
No, if it's not working for you, it's not gonna get any better.
Here's the I do think it's working for me. Like there's a lot of it that I'm really enjoying, but when I really got
but
into the channel, and there's just so many other directions I'm getting pulled, I'm just looking for that sales job to get me excited to be pulled back in that direction. I was counting on you.
I would never recommend the Wheel of Time series to a today's fantasy reader.
Really?
Never. Yeah, it.
So okay,
I'll send them. I will
Dark
send
Tower?
them. I will send them to Dark Tower, but I would also start. I would look at. I would kind of get a little bit of a. I like different kinds of fantasy.
Yeah.
If there's somebody who likes reading horror, then I'm going to be like, okay, well, let's talk about grimdark.
Yeah, let's talk
And
about
then if it's
grimdark.
somebody that's like, well, I'm just getting my feet wet, and I'm like, okay, well, let's start here. But I think John Gwynn is really accessible if you like action. You want to, I'm like, you like Viking stuff, you like The Last Kingdom on Netflix.
Yeah.
Then I think you might would like John Gwynn.
Okay.
But it really, I got to ask a lot of questions. I'm like, okay, well, you like urban fantasy? Because Luke Arnold.
I haven't heard him.
The Fetch Phillips Archive book 4 is about to come out. So, he's a actor. He's the
I know
the
nothing
pirate
about
show,
this.
Black Sails.
Oh,
and
yeah, I watched all those.
He narrates his own books, and he's amazing.
Which one is he? I watched that show.
He's the one with the black curly hair. I can't remember his name on the show.
All right, I'll Google him. I'll look him up. So he writes a series?
Yes.
All right, tell me all about it.
Archive, urban fantasy. So where we start, there has been this huge. It's like 5 years after this huge event where magic was drained from the world.
Okay.
And Fetch blames himself. So there's some connection there that you're not immediately aware of. And then of course, a lot of times people feel guilt, and it's not actually their fault. It's misplaced.
Right, sure.
And there are these people. Even though magic is gone, the people remain. So someone might have been a warlock, or they might have been an elf. They're still an elf. They just don't have their magic. So they're very despondent. And he solves mysteries. He's a wizard for hire. It's I know it sounds Dresden-esque.
It does sound kind of Dresden-y, yeah.
But it's completely different.
Okay.
I think it's phenomenal.
Okay, wait a minute. I gotta get my Trapper Keeper out for this one.
What? Oh my God, that is so 1986. And you got the folders.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I have one with kittens on it. Luke Arnold is his name.
Yeah.
And the series is the Fetch Phillips Archive. And they're not super long. They're reasonably length. And the fourth one is coming out, I think, in April.
Okay, awesome. I'm doing it. And for the Stephen Graham Jones, you said slasher.
I was a teenage slasher.
I was a teenage slasher. I have to write this. See, I hear you typing. I have to write this because, I'm old. Oh, he was John Silver. Okay.
Yep.
All right, perfect. All right, so.
Oh gosh, and if you want humor, there is a paranormal mystery thriller series by C.K. McDonald. He is an Irish comedian, and it is so funny. Oh my Lord. So it's about the Stranger Times, and it's a rag. They post stories about things that go bump in the night.
Yeah.
And it's all a bunch of malarkey. Like, they know it's junk. Once a month, they have this day. It's called Loon Day, and it's British, English, British. And so it's called Loon Day, where they let anybody come in off the street and tell them whatever story they want to tell. And like, whoever is the most recently hired newspaper staff, they have to take all of these stories. Okay. Oh my Lord, it's so funny. But Bancroft is the editor. Oh my Lord. It's just this motley crew, and they kind of they think all this stuff is fluff, but they kind of accidentally stumble into a magical mystery. And so each character kind of has their own little plot line going. They all have this little bit of mystery to them. There's a little bit backstory that's hinted at that gets developed. And then they solve a mystery as well, that it feels like it's just flavor of the week, but then you start to see a pattern and things start connecting and getting bigger. But he also has, that one's called The Stranger Times.
Stranger Times, okay.
And then he also writes a regular crime thriller series called the Dublin Trilogy, but it's 7 books now. And this one's main character is Buddy McGarry. He's always drunk, but they won't kick him off the police force because he's somehow a really good cop. But he does whatever he wants to do. Like, he was messing with some guy trying to get information, and he's hanging him by his feet off a balcony, but he's only like 2 floors up, and he's drunk. So he gets the information, and he accidentally drops the guy. Oh man! And he teaches like Ted Lasso soccer. They call it football. Yeah. So he has a little team of kids that he teaches too. But he's always slurring when he talks.
Oh my God, these are
funny.
Awesome.
So
these are
funny.
Awesome. Grifkin says, try Dead Man's Hand by James Butcher.
By his son. It's on the list. Yeah. I love the cover for it. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
There's so many, right? Like,
I know.
Does it get to you sometimes? Like, I can read 6 to 8 books a month, and it's like I can't get to anything near what I want to get to.
Look, I just hope I'm like my dad. He is about to turn 85 because I got a lot of books to read.
Right? We need some kind of immortality spell. Man, fair play to your dad. That's awesome. Is he still like,
Oh, no, we're not going to talk about that. He got a pacemaker put in today. He's been in ICU this week because my lovely. Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into that, but
that's fine. My best wishes to the man.
That's
awesome.
He's doing good. He's doing good.
That's what I want.
Hopefully, he doesn't call me at 3:00 this morning and wake me up.
He might have something important to tell you.
Oh, bless his heart. He's got dementia, and I seem to be the only one he remembers how to call.
Well, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. So, let me hit you with, if you like cosmic horror a little bit, have you done any F. Paul Wilson?
I have never heard of that person.
Oh, Leslie. Okay. So F. Paul Wilson.
Ooh.
He does.
Ooh.
It's not necessarily they're not all series, but everything.
He wrote Midnight Mass?
Yep.
Okay.
Kind of interconnects and builds this secret history. And the main series, I would say, would be the Repairman Jack series.
That's what I'm looking at. That caught my attention first.
So the Repairman Jack series starts with a book called The Tomb.
I'm looking at it.
If you really want to start at the beginning, you'll start with the Adversary series, which starts with a book called The Keep. And The Tomb is book 2 in the Adversary series. It's book 1 in Repairman Jack.
So basically, he's Kerry Washington from The Scandal. He fixes things, huh?
He fixes things. Like if you have a situation that I can't go to the cops because, I did something.
Like Jack Reacher.
Yeah, exactly. But I need someone to fix this. He has a little ad, and you'll meet him down at Julio's, which is a bar that nobody goes to, that doesn't know about it. He'll meet you in a booth. And he's a complete urban mercenary. He's a ghost. He has no social security number. He's just a complete phantom, right? So if you convince him to fix something for you, he'll take the case. And what he starts to find out in this series of books is he is the final knight errant on this earthly plane that has to hold back the cosmic horrors that are bleeding through.
That's interesting. I like that.
He starts to find it's like there's always been a protector. I'm the latest one, and I'm getting pulled into cases that are starting, like you say, linked together and form a bigger picture and a bigger situation going on. And he's an urban mercenary in New York, and while taking on the mob and all these other cases, he starts to find what's really behind the curtains and what's really bleeding through.
You would like the Orphan series by Greg Hurwitz.
Oh, okay.
So the main character was part of what was called an orphan program. They're taken in as kids. They're like orphan children. They have no families, no connections. They have no identity. They're known as Orphan 0, Orphan 1. And they're basically trained assassins by the government, and nobody knows who they are. You never leave the program. And this one particular one did. And all you have to do is, if you're in need, and what he does is if he helps you, he says, for payment, give my number to someone who really needs my help. So that's how, it's super good.
You're gonna like it. You're gonna like it. Jack is my favorite. And the amazing thing about F. Paul Wilson is that he started out a doctor, a general practitioner. So he's written some medical thrillers and stuff too. And this guy knows what he's talking about. He's really good. Awesome guy too. Greg Hurwitz. So I'm a big comics fan. I know he's a comics writer. Have you got into reading comics at all?
Yes, but I've been it's like Green Lantern, like superhero, and then horror comics.
Yeah.
Like Nailbiter series. Love Nailbiter. Read a lot of manga, horror manga, and then of course, like there's One Piece and what all? I've got the Stitch manga. Anything Junji Ito writes.
Oh, I gotta get. So where are you in One Piece? How far are you in?
I have read through, I think, the 3rd box set, so somewhere in the 90s.
Okay. I'm at 4. So you're way ahead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so good.
I'm gonna try and get further into it and see what I think. Have you read any Garth Ennis? Because you would probably like Garth Ennis quite a bit. He's the Preacher series.
I think I've heard of the Preacher series.
They made a pretty good TV show adaptation of that.
Okay, that might have been what it. Oh, okay. Hack and Slash is another horror comic I like.
Yeah. I would say my favorite horror comic right now is got to be either World Tree or Nice House on the Lake.
Ooh.
They're both by James Tynion IV.
Got it. Oh, and Something is Killing the Children is another one. Of course, Lock and Key.
Oh, I love Lock and Key.
Have you ever read the Dark Tower graphic novels?
I read quite a few of them, like some of the prequel stuff that was coming out and that kind of thing.
And then of course there's the Jim Butcher ones that go along with
now
the Dresden Files. Read. Yeah, they're not required reading. They just kind of give you little backstories to some of the things that characters just kind of mention, like maybe expound on an event.
I've read some of the short stories that are like that, but I haven't read the comics, like the Bigfoot one and.
Oh, I love the Bigfoot ones.
The Bigfoot one's awesome, right? I don't know how
there's 3 of them.
Yeah, those seem like they should be required reading for what comes later.
Yes. Well, not required reading, but you understand why they have the relationship they have.
It makes it so much better. It's just, yeah. Sometimes I get a little angry at that. Like, where do you end up? Like, I love the extra stuff. Me as a collector, I love having it and finding it and reading it and finding these little gems that are off to the side. But at the same time, it's like, man, this should really be in. This should be. I shouldn't have to track this down. This should be in.
I don't care. I don't care because when I go to pick something up, the first thing I do is pull it up. I'm like, okay, what? Because I don't remember something the other day. I'm like, okay, when I went to reread Necroscope, I'm over here because I owned the first 8 on Kindle. I'm like, oh, there's 16 books in this series now. So I always research it. I look for short story collections, novellas, if there's a comic, if there was something included in a magazine, because I am a completionist, but it doesn't piss me off.
Me too.
If I miss it, I miss it. If I don't, I don't. So
yeah,
that's the wonderful thing about the internet now is if I mark it on somewhere that I've read it, they'll send me an email. Hey, Leslie, we think we found something. I get like 20 emails like that a day. We have found something we think you'll like.
And 9 times
an author you've read has written a new book.
I will like that. 100 Bullets is really good. Slay.
Ooh.
Reminding me of that. That's a fun, if you're looking for like a little bit of supernatural, bizarre crime kind of feel.
I do like it.
Yeah.
I like the art style a lot. It's very pulpy.
It is very pulpy. I love suddenly learning there's more of something I love. Finding the Dresden microfiction on Butcher's website was like surprise Christmas present. That's a great way to look at it. I get crotchety. I get cranky because I'll miss stuff. I don't get these magic emails like you do. And I'll be like 4 or 5 books in and it's like, I missed this. How did I miss this? That's what happens to me. I guess that's why I get cranky.
Well, I guess I don't get mad because I reread so much that I'm eventually going to get around to it.
So you can plug it in.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about having a booktube channel and having such a large community of people, because they'll also tell me, it's like, hey, what about this? Like I had somebody, so they had a new show come out, Sweet Pea, that is based on the series.
Yeah.
Somebody commented on the review I did like 4 or 5 years ago of the first book in the series. They were like, hey, did you hear that there's a show coming out? I was like, no, thank you. It was terrible. I noped out after the first episode.
Yeah.
But it's just nice having people
look out for you.
Yeah. So it's really nice.
Yeah, it is awesome. It is awesome. I do.
Because I don't like to sit around on the internet. I would rather be reading. Yeah. I like check everything once a day, like in the morning times. And like I like do all my basketball stuff like while I'm eating my breakfast. Because I have to cut myself off because I will sit there and roll through everything everybody has said about the games the night before.
Yeah. And then half your day's gone.
Yeah. So I have to, I'm like, all right, I can look at basketball stuff for as long as it takes me to eat my Pop-Tarts.
Right. So
I have to do it.
What are you doing eating Pop-Tarts? Aren't you a runner? Aren't you? What you shouldn't be eating Pop-Tarts.
I run. No,
so you can eat Pop-Tarts?
So I can eat whatever I want. Guilt-free, baby.
I hear you. I hear you. That's the way to live. So how do you, let me ask you this, because this kind of, I would love, there's some series and books that I would love to go back and reread. but I've got like this guilt because there's so much stuff I haven't read yet that I feel like I should be getting to. How do you?
It's easy. There are times where I'm like, I might read a book that affects me, and sometimes, depending on what kind of material it is, and how, if I've experienced something like it and I share this trauma with this character, I may love the book, I may love what the author did, and it will bring me down. And I'm like, well, it's time to pull something off the shelf that's going to make me laugh. Something I love. There's books that I love so much, I'll reread them every year. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. That book makes me cry every time I read it, but it is the most beautiful story of a woman who just wants to live her life, make her choices, and do what it takes for her to find her happiness, her peace.
Sure.
It is gorgeous. Anything by Zora Neale Hurston. But, it makes me feel so good to read something that I love, that I know is going to make me feel some kind of way. Because I'm easily manipulated emotion-wise. I match the energy of the book.
Of course, yeah. So it's like that art is going to take you there, and it's a place you want to go. So it's like it's an express ticket. You know exactly what you're going to get.
What do you do when you go somewhere you love? What do? You go back. You visit again. I mean, worlds that these authors have created, I don't have the ability. I don't have the cleverness, the creativity, the intellect to create what these authors create for me to live in. And it's not just one time. I can go back to this world anytime I like. This beautiful, or characters that I relate to, that I love, or just see them go through something and come out the other end. Just books that end on hope, like The Dark Tower, that just amps me up. And it just, I love it. I don't ever buy a book with the intention of reading it one time. I mean, there's times that I could just walk over to my shelf and just touch one, and I'm like,
and it just does it just takes you back. You just know, right? Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that about story. And I talk about that all the time. That it transports us, it takes us to a place. It's a shortcut for empathy, because we walk through all these characters' shoes and go on all these adventures and live all these lives and go to all these worlds.
See, you're describing One Piece right now too, because they go on adventures. Oh my gosh, this is the most wholesome manga I have ever read. You cannot, like, the values that this little kid Luffy, he is so just untamed. He's a little heathen. He just wants to eat meat and have the One Piece and be king of the pirates. And he wants to have this crew, and he loves his crew, but he's like, you got to do what makes you happy. What's the one thing you want to be? And whatever, you got to follow your dreams. Nobody's going to stand in the way of that. And he's not going to let anybody stand in their way either. Just the loyalty and the friendship. Oh my Lord. I have never cried so hard over a freaking inanimate pirate ship. I was devastated.
Okay.
For days.
All right. I am in. Look, I got up to, I bought the first 3 in the volume, right? Zach's been trying to get me back into this for a while. So you're preaching to the choir there. So I bought the first 3. I read the first 3. I'm not saying I didn't like them. I did. I enjoyed them. It dealt with some pretty deep themes. The characters were very lovable. I really did like Luffy and what, about follow your dreams and all that stuff going on. But I didn't find the magic at the level that I had heard about.
I think you have to read through, I would say, the first arc, because you got to meet all of his characters, his found family. You got to meet his crew, and you don't know when you meet them, like, each one has something each one has a dream.
Yeah.
Each one has something they're dealing with. They each add something special to the group as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And just they find themselves. And it is just absolutely, it's glorious. I mean, it's wholesome. I mean,
all right. I'm in. I'm in.
Do it this way. Just read one chapter with your morning coffee. Just one chapter a day.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm even gonna do more. I got the next volume set aside. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna blow through that. I mean, it's not like it takes a long time or anything, but okay, you did an amazing job selling me. That was amazing.
It's so good. And there's so much humor to it.
Yeah, 3 volumes of manga aren't really enough to get an accurate feel for an entire series. That's absolutely fair, Slay. Absolutely fair. Well, Leslie.
Oh, have you ever tried Tokyo Ghoul?
See, this is the thing. I love American comics. Owned a comic shop, but manga, I have not done much of it all, like at all.
Oh man. Well, Tokyo Ghoul is phenomenal. The second series of it, though, just don't do that one.
Oh, really? Just do the first one.
Yeah, it's like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
What happened to you?
This is like, it's not like.
Oh my gosh. You're tackling all of those at the same time. Oh, Lord.
Have you done have you done any of these? You've probably done all of these, right?
Well, I haven't done Cahill's yet. I've done some of Realm of the Elderlings and Malazan. I'm just waiting until I can back to back them.
Okay. What do you think of where do you think of where does Realm of the Elderlings end up for you? 'Cause I did the first trilogy.
So, the first time I read Assassin's Apprentice, that's the first time I've thrown a book in I don't know how many years.
Really?
So, I don't want to spoil anything, but it was towards the end the deal with Nosy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Say no more. My heart. She had already ripped it out.
Yeah.
And she put it back in, and she's like, "Here, I fixed you." And then she tears it again and stomped on it, and I was like, I was like, I'm not reading any more about this woman. Well, then I did this thing where I ended up reading Ship of Magic, and I loved it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and start over. So I did go back and reread Assassin's Apprentice. And since I knew what to expect, I focused more on the character of Fitz. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is a really good character study of someone who is an orphan and, just how that affects people. And then I just got distracted, and I was like, I was planning too many books at a time, and I didn't allow to continue series. So now I'm waiting, and when I start a series, I finish it before I move on to another one.
Okay.
Because I only have like 600,000, and I loved Gardens of the Moon, just loved it. I was like, I am thrown in the middle of a marathon at the beginning, but these characters are very interesting, and it was kind of like, oh, the Broken Binding's going to do their special set.
Right.
And I was going to hold off, but I don't like the way they're releasing it. They're way too expensive. The shipping is just willy-nilly when you're going to get it. And I'm like, okay, I'm noping out. I'm just going to go back and read them on my Kindle.
Read them on your Kindle, yeah. I stepped up for the first 3. Still, I haven't seen them. I don't know when we'll go,
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. I need, if I'm going to spend my book budget on you, I'm going to need a book for it like that month. I don't agree with we're going to let everybody pay for it and then we're going to print the books. No. You need to print your stock first.
Yeah, I get you. So do you plan your TBR? Griffin says, wait, y'all plan your TBR? Mine's
not so much anymore. So I plan for whatever my review copy is. So I have reviews lined up through next year. Really? I'm not currently taking on more because I took so many and then it bit me in the tail because I've had so many life things that doesn't allow for me to read as much. But I kind of just look and see these days. I'm like, all right, what books are coming out by my auto-buy authors? And if I decide that, oh, well, I want to go reread Necroscope, then I just do it.
Then you just do it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. You're so open to like take that ticket that you were talking about.
I am now.
That'll take you to that place you need to be right then, emotionally, or just you need to physically transport yourself for a moment because of what's going on in life. You have that flexibility. I plan like 2-3 months ahead usually, and I'm finding I kind of miss that sometimes.
I just never know what I'm going to do. I watch as much basketball as possible. I've been playing Overwatch 2 again. We go play disc golf on the weekends. I'm just kind of,
Wow. You're living a good life, Leslie.
Yep.
I want to be Leslie when I grow up. That's amazing. That sounds amazing. All right. Well, I wrote so many things down in my Trapper Keeper. I usually don't even break this out, so that lets you know. And people, it's like homeroom. People were saying that we're blowing up their TBRs in the chat several times, so I feel like we did our job there.
Oh yeah.
Hey, let me ask you a question, and you put me to shame on this. Let me ask one more question before we break up. You put me to shame on indie reads.
So I love self-published works. I love the freedom that they have. And I like seeing, hey, look, it's not that I don't want them to get traditionally published. I would love for them to get picked up. That's their dream. I want to see them realize it. But I like to see what their writing chops are like before it gets, what an editor's going to do with it. Sure. They're going to change the cover. Some of the best covers are going to be on self-published author books. Some of my favorite
Dungeon
covers.
Crawler Carl, I love the self-pub covers. The new trad ones?
I don't. I like the trad ones.
Oh, I'm totally opposite.
In this regard, yeah, I like the trad
opposite
ones.
Yeah. Oh, I love this.
I'm just not a fan of that hokey looking,
that cartoony
look. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I mean, I like seeing the characters on there, but yeah,
I don't know. I love it, but I try and do one a month, and I'm the same as you. Like I find it such an amazing movement. For it's like I've got to find the chair and sit down and write and create, because to not do it is a lie to myself. It's not who I am. And I'm going to, if I have to push this across the finish line and find an audience, I'm going to do that. And I find that so
well, they're
moving.
like us.
Yeah.
They do everything just like we do everything for our channels. We're the editors, we're the managers, we're the planners, we're the readers, we're the reviewers. Like we're the all-in-one. And so are they. And they're so much more accessible.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for
and
sure.
They, just to get to talk to them and give feedback and get to be involved in the planning process. That's a lot of fun. But gosh, I have so many self-published authors who are auto-buy, and I like that they're not under pressure to say, okay, well, I took this advance. I've got to put 3 books out and this amount. Because that's like Stephen Graham Jones got kind of encouraged into writing that trilogy. He normally doesn't write series, and that's why I think the 3rd book in that trilogy didn't land so well. Because he was, for the longest time, he's like, I couldn't decide what to do. I didn't know how to broach it. And, a book that I'm about to start reading is by a self-published author, Calvin Ellis, and it's called In the Graves Where the Bones Are Still Wet. And it's a Paisley mystery series. It's a YouTuber who she covers crime stuff. And she kind of, in the first book, she kind of ended up in the middle of a serial killer investigation. And he's so good, but he's a very slow, methodical writer. So they have the ability to take all the time in the world to write something they're proud of to put out. And I respect that. I'm like, take all the time you need. I'm still going to be reading when you're done.
Yeah.
I want you to feel good about what you're putting out.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to be a part of that.
I so agree, to be on that artist journey with them and because okay. Hit me with my favorite Who is an indie horror writer that I need to be reading right now?
Oh my gosh, just one.
You give me a couple. My Trapper
okay.
Keeper's out. Give me a couple.
I would say Daniel Barnett for horror, post-apocalyptic horror, the Nightmare Land Chronicles.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
That one, dark fantasy, I would say Joseph Sale, the Book of Thrice Dead series. That's like his Dark Tower. That's his that's his legacy book right there.
Okay.
Oh man. Mystery, Calvin Ellis. I don't know. Are you a mystery fan?
I like mystery, yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Who else do we have? Oh goodness, leaving my mind. Lillian Crow is a really great fantasy. She's had a couple of books do pretty well in SBFBO.
Okay.
In a couple of years. Gosh. That's wild.
Okay.
Well, That's hard.
Hey, that's 4 to look up. That's pretty good, Leslie.
There's more horror. I'm just not thinking of them.
Hey, have you ever read any Joe R. Lansdale?
No. I'll follow him on Twitter. I interact with him on Twitter all the time, and I've never read one of his books. Wait, yes, I have. Yes, I have. What was it? Now I'm over here lying. He wrote something with his daughter.
Yeah.
I read. But
I haven't read that one, but I know him and Casey wrote a book. It's like it's a book of short stories about a detective, supernatural detective, I believe.
Oh, well, that's more of a psychological, crime thriller. Well, I don't think you can get that one. So Michael Clark has a series, and it's been, so he self-published it.
Yeah.
And it's oh my gosh, the name of it went out of my head because I'm thinking of the new title. The Patience of the Dead Man.
Okay.
The trilogy is amazing. I haven't read, it got picked up by a publisher and it was combined into one novel.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of folks haven't really enjoyed it because it's kind of longer, and I like the trilogy.
Okay.
But it's a haunted house horror trilogy. This guy, he and his wife get a divorce. He's trying to restart his construction business, his home flipping business. So he takes all of his money that he has left. He buys this farmhouse on some land, and he gets a really good deal on it.
Yeah.
So he's there working on it by himself. And it's just one of those things where he keeps feeling like there's something behind him. And there's all these descriptions of he hears something and he starts seeing stuff. And
all right. Haunted
house
is my jam.
Look, there's this scene where he's sleeping and he hears footsteps and he hears them coming up the stairs, and he knows that he has 12 stairs, and he's counting the footsteps coming up the stairs, and he's peeking out of his door because he knows one more step and the person will be on the landing where he can see them. And they pause, and he's just waiting. I got my hairs on the back of my neck.
That's good. That's good.
That I love that kind of stuff where you can just immerse me so deep. You talk about, I was staring so hard in every shadow of my house. I'm like, Mildred, is that you?
Oh man, I don't know about everybody else. I've got so many books to look up. I'm telling you, this is why I love your channel. This is why I love you. You're so tuned in. You do such an amazing job. I can't thank you enough. We've been going over an hour and a half. I don't want to take up any more of your time. That's okay. This was so much fun for me. Like we said, this is the first of many. We're going to have to get together again.
Yes, Andy, I know what you're talking about. That was super creepy.
Which one? The Flies?
Yeah, it's the same book. And then he's talking about another moment.
Okay. Well, I don't want to know too much. I don't want to know too many moments. Don't tell me too many moments. I'm gonna go look it up
Brian,
now.
we need to do a Dungeon Crawler Carl discussion, Brian.
Oh yeah, I would too. Well, I've only done one book, so I can't. I would tune in while I can. Before
you got to catch up.
I know. Okay, January's book 2. Leslie, thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Thank you for having me. I don't do these real often, so.
Well, what a pleasure. This has been so much fun, and I have so many books to look up, and I love your channel so much. You're such an inspiration to me, and I love that you read so many different genres, and I can find so many different flavors and tastes to try out, and it's always such a breath of fresh air. And thank you so much for joining me. And everybody in the chat.
I'm happy to be here.
Oh, you're so sweet. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for joining us and hanging out. Everyone that catches us on replay, hit us in comments and let us know. And crochet a while and listen. Way too many books added to my TBR. Thank you. I'm telling you, it's rare I break out the Trapper Keeper, but for you, Leslie, for you, I had to do it.
That's a fossil right there.
Do you know what? This is new. They're making them again.
No way.
I got this for my birthday this year.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
If they got that gray one with the 2 kittens on the front like I had back in the day, I might have to get it.
You're going to have to step up. And then you can keep like your special pins in, your special paper and your special pins.
No, I'll keep my sticker collection in it.
Oh, there you go. Your sticker collection. Thanks so much, Leslie. Thanks you to everyone. We'll see you soon. This is just part 1, Leslie. Thank you again so much. Good night, everybody.
Good night.